There we go. Hello. Welcome back. Hi, everybody. We didn't need to do the intro again. We're back and we're in Canada, and hopefully that'll fix some of the framiness of the leg issues. Let's
Yay.
do an episode of Fire Verona. So
Yay.
the last time that we did the thing, I remember most distinctly. I remember Marcus telling me, "Hey, so are we gonna do something that's not getting shot at or running away from bad guys? That'd be super cool." So
Did I say it like that? Did I?
something like that. Yes. Yeah. It's not a perfect one-to-one representation of how that conversation went. I think there was probably more swearing, but yeah. So the plan today is that you've got a little bit of breathing room, right? You spent the first few episodes getting acquainted with one another and with the synths that are with you. You fled from a House Crux retirement squad, and then fled into the city. So you're currently in kind of it's not like there's an undercity, right? It's not like this is still very much like access tunnels, unused maintenance shafts, that kind of thing, underneath an already abandoned part of the city of Tenyas on the planet of Ukiah. Ukiah itself is undergoing a lot of sort of complication and chaos in terms of their government, which makes it a good place to hide out. There's not a ton of Imperial presence here yet, though that might change in the future. But for now, you're in the capital in Tenyas, in an abandoned sector of Old Tenyas in the slums, hiding out underneath the city. And so you've all...
Is it Tanya's? Will you spell that for me?
Yeah, it's Tanez or Z. And then the E has that little, like, I don't know what it's called, the little like thing that makes it Tenyas instead of Tanez. Yeah, there's a specific name for that accent, but it's not French, so I don't know what it is. So you're in Tenyas, and you're in a part of the town that has occupants, but not they're like undocumented, or they live in the slums, or they're whatever. So you're hidden away in this part of town, and you've been on the run from the Crux hunter team that's been after you, and I think that we left off on Haley finding a butterfly. I think that's the last thing that we saw, right? The last scene was as the group of you kind of like reassemble in the tunnels below Tenyas, this tiny blue glowing butterfly sort of flutters its way in. It's totally incongruous. It's the only wildlife you've seen so far on the planet. And Haley, we open on your face and the blue glow of this butterfly reflected on your eyes as it lands on your outstretched hand. What do you do, Haley? Yes. So we just see your tiny little hand like crush the thing. And yeah, tiny bits of filament and dust fall between your grimy little fingers and tumble.
No. I have built-in protocol that auto.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You're clean all the time. So you
like dogs.
You crush. Yes, like a dog. So you crush it in your hand, and the dust falls from your fingers, and you it's clear that at least this thing, and you can tell at a glance that there's something unusual about it. Right, that this is not a natural animal. This is one of those synthetic insects that we talked so much about and at such length. And they followed you at least here. But the question becomes, like, where to now? They've tracked you with this butterfly. You smush it and you turn to the others. What are you gonna do? Where is everybody going? What's the plan here? And maybe this requires us doing some flashbacks and like talking a little bit about like what came before this moment. How did we get here? But I think we'll start with Haley. Do you let the others know what happened? Because they're in the background, like climbing down a ladder and like getting situated.
Yeah, definitely. I would probably walk up while they're doing that and go, I don't think we can stay here. I think they know where we are.
I look very, very nervous.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? How?
I think they sent one of their little spy bugs after us. I just crushed one, and I don't know if there's more in the tunnel with us or more on the way, but they certainly know our current location at the very least.
All right.
I think our best bet is just to get moving. There's only a finite amount of entrances into the tunnel, whether they know where we are or not.
All right, I'm with you. Whatever you say, Haley.
So
Yes.
I was gonna say somehow the 8-year-old has been put in charge.
I'm not.
She's not 8. She's not 8.
I'm calling it like I see it.
like she's 8.
I'm 120.
Yasna, do you want to take control, or are you gonna let Haley kind of lead this little expedition?
Yeah, no. I'm totally fine. I mean, I just kind of like absolutely reinforce like there's no objection basically from Yasna. Like it's clear that these people are chasing. In fact, maybe it is a flaw that not expressing urgency at this matter, but totally agree with Haley. Like we still have to stay one step ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think actually probably what ends up happening is that to speak is just like to start moving forward. So I just kind of start.
Yeah, well, and that becomes the question, right? So we jumped in right away, and this is going to be our opportunity because you have some breathing room, though it may only be a little bit. How did you why Ikea, right? Why did you come here? Of all places, are you all here to meet someone or to do something? Are you here to hide out? Was something promised to you? Like what? I guess we can kind of backfill what got you here in the first place, because we know you were hiding out in that farm. So
I think we were running, and like our general, the group was, we're just trying to get away because we were definitely like being pursued.
Yeah.
So I mean, as far as Johnny knows, we are definitely trying to hide. But he also has, I don't know if he's ever been to this part of town before. So he's very, he's hesitant.
Yeah. So Johnny, were you operating, are you, I was going to say like native to this planet, but you're not, you were built somewhere else. But was this home for you, Tanya's?
I don't believe so.
No. So you came here to hide out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And is that true for everybody, or is anybody is this home base for anyone?
This would not be for Yasna.
Okay.
It's a sizable city though.
Yeah. It's the capital city of the planetary government. So yeah, it's pretty big.
I would say that because Johnny is such he's meant to be just like a functioning object. He was probably constructed somewhere of equal size as Tenya's, but not here.
Yeah. Okay, so you were built elsewhere, and this just happens to be. So did you all come to Ikea together, or did you meet here prior to the big chase situation?
I feel like Haley might be from here if it's like the capital. And she was made for entertainment. She would probably reside in like the biggest city or one of the big cities, just like a place that has easy access to studios or sets or stages, things like that.
Okay. So you were on Tanya, you were in Tanya's on Ikea before the war.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the war happened, and then you went underground, but you've been here. So are you the others' contact in this place? Did they come here to meet with you because you have a connection to someone that might be able to help on this planet?
Yeah, I think she would, having been around so long, I think she would have a network of people in the city.
Okay. All right.
I don't know that a lot of people take her super seriously.
I also just kind of imagine that this is a point to whatever destination that represents that sanctuary that, we ultimately want to get to. The like a underground railroad style, that's why we had all these additional people with us. And it's also why we have experience together, but it's also not like the, oh yeah, Johnny and I go way back. We've been pals for eons. So that maybe Tenyez is actually the middle point of we have to go through here in order to get to where we need to go to next.
Okay. All right. So there's some promise of an end goal. You don't know like where it is. But so where did you learn? And I guess we can all kind of answer this, but where did each of you learn that there was somewhere that was like safe for synths to go?
Before we go into this, I think a bunch of us are offline on the streaming to everyone's channels. I just had that.
Okay.
So I think when we went down before, it's not pushed.
Oh, it hasn't pushed it back. Okay, cool. Thanks, Mark. I'll let Jack know.
Cool.
Yeah. So how? I guess that's the thing is where did you learn this? Is this like a rumor? Has somebody told you specifically?
Well, I think
to come here
with Autumn's, because of the nature of why she's here with her sister, it was part of the agreed plan. Whichever mercs or whichever kind of like sympathizers helped bust her sister out of Crux custody. Told her that Tenyez, this is, we're going to send you to Tenyez. You're going to have to travel there independently, meet up, and then you'll go on from there to wherever this happens to be.
Okay.
So I think maybe Autumn's kind of maybe one of the newer people to arrive, having known that her sister was coming here, maybe to a different location, and has been sort of somewhat out of contact and out of sorts.
Oh, so did you come here expecting to be like reunited with your sister, and then that wasn't the case?
Yeah, they ended up having to like divert to another location or something like that, which is why she's not here.
Okay. So Yasna, you and the rest of the group, like you all came, I assume everybody came to Ukiah to a specific like meeting place together, and then that place was blown, right? Like when you got there, I mean, obviously we saw you all being chased by Crux hunters. What, like, do you have any reason to believe that you've been made, or that this was a trap, or like kind of where's your head at as far as that goes right now?
I think actually that it was, we had too large of a group and there are regular sweeps in that area, and that this was kind of like, this was the big wall to get over in order to get to Tenyez. And then, a new set of challenges begin. So I don't think that it's a sort of been made or anything other than, getting spotted by the patrols and that's it.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just like bad luck because the group was too big to stay hidden.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you and Yazza sat down and had a confessional room conversation, that she would say exactly like, there's too many people, harder to sneak around, and that is that the fact that maybe we lost 2 people sucks, but we're gonna have a better chance now.
Right. So some part of you is like, it's fine. We're slowly getting rid of the baggage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So it sounds like Haley, it makes sense. We come back around to Haley being kind of the one in charge. So you kind of made the decision to lead people down here. You made the decision to like abandon the vehicle and go this way. So I think you have a contact in a group called the Friends of Ukiah. How much do you know about this group? Like how closely have you worked with them in the past?
Can I butt in real quick?
Yeah, please.
And just say that Johnny knows about this group, and that was one reason why he came to Tenyez in the first place.
Okay.
He heard this rumor from bartending and this was like code. They were called eco-friendlies because they're friendly to like toasters and shit, and like people in need of refuge and obsolete robots. So that was one reason like he wanted to come to Tenyez in the first place, was to like meet up with people and kind of get upgrades so that he couldn't be seen as like useless.
Okay. Cool. So that's a
sorry
thing.
To interrupt. I just
no, that's perfect.
Like,
so that's the thing
that's like his
brought you
mission
here.
as well.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Haley, how well do you know like you have a name and ostensibly like another place that you can go to meet with them, but how much do you know about the Friends of Yukiya already? Like a lot, a little, nothing?
Are the Friends of Yukiya made up of humans, or are they made up of?
Yes. Yeah. It's so the base thing that you would know would be that they are like technically a religious minority. But their whole thing is like protecting their home, and like they care about Yukiya on the surface. They're like a political group for Yukiya and like independence. They're big pushers for the mandate, but they have also under the surface, they have all of this kind of like helping sentience and like taking care of people that need it, including synths. But they're, for the most part, they're human, because if they were mostly synths, they'd probably be rooted out by now.
Sure.
Yeah. So have you met with them before, or is this you're just kind of following like a lead?
I think if it's sort of religion focused, like maybe when she sort of got blacklisted from like the entertainment industry and had to leave that, like maybe she didn't know where to go. And in one of her movies, she was an orphan abandoned at a church or something. So she was like, maybe I'll try that. That seems like a thing. So maybe she went there to try and find refuge, and just found a bit more than what she was looking for.
Okay.
Like wanted to go and like fake be like, I'm a child, my mommy's gone. And then they were like, we love synths, don't tell anyone. And she was like, huh? Right?
Okay. All right.
Does that work?
Yeah, that's cool. So your contact, the main person that you know in the Friends, her name is Anita Fitzsimmons, and she is, I don't think you know like what her life is like outside of the brief interactions you've had with her. But at some point Anita gave you a like a kind of open in case of emergency, like a data file. And in it had coordinates in Tenyas, in the old city, that you could go if you were ever in danger. And I assume that's where you're leading everybody now.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're
like a safe house kind of.
Yeah, maybe you just know that it's like a place that she said that you could go if you need anything. And I think maybe you've been working with like her indirectly, but the Friends in general, in like they know that Autumn, Yasna, Johnny, and the others are like, they were going to come here. You were going to meet with them, and you're going to bring them to the Friends of Yukiya, so that they could be passed along to this promised, like put on a ship and sent to the secret planet where the synths can all live or whatever. My question for everybody is, do you believe that place exists?
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
Yeah. Haley?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody like,
I think if she's leading other people to it, yeah.
I mean, maybe not. So you all believe.
He's paid off.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you believe that this place is real, just based on that it has to be. Okay. All right. So let's do a quick check on who's currently down here in the sewer. So it's the four of you, and then Martin was captured. Poor Martin. And then what's her name? Catherine, Cassandra, Katie. She's
one of those.
Johnny's friend. So she's still with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think. Okay, but she's like
the clinger.
She's badly injured.
The clinger, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
she got injured.
Okay. So she's in attendance but injured. Okay. And then Hidil is also with you.
Badass.
Yeah. Okay. So Hidil is kind of reverted to silent stalker mode. Like she's with you, and she's obviously like, and I think Yasna, watching her, you see her she's on scout mode, right? Like she's not really engaging with the rest of the group. If you're having conversations, if you're talking, she isn't really responding to like Haley's information about like, yeah, I found this thing, they're tracking us, but she's looking all around at the tunnels you're not going down, and kind of like watching your corners and keeping an eye on things.
Would I like assume that this is some sort of military training, or like if I were to make that observation, like am I noticing anything in that regard?
Why don't we have you make a roll?
Sure.
To kind of get a handle on her.
See them shapes.
Yeah, let's get some shapes on the board. So let's take a look. Let me take a look at the list of skills. This is essentially like getting a read on somebody, like getting some insight into their business. So let's see. Maybe it's just perception. I think it's just a perception check. Yeah, it's cunning. Make a perception check with two purple dice in the pool.
Okay.
Look at all those good shapes. Look at them. You're so successful.
Awesome.
4 successes. You didn't roll your purple dice though.
What?
So roll those now, or I'll roll them for you, and then
No.
we'll see.
I click. Wait.
Yeah.
If it's in my dice pool, don't I?
There you go.
What?
I got some purple dice on the board. Okay, so we
Wait,
got.
why didn't it?
Because so it's the same as before. You hit it up to 2, and then
That's
you
what I
have to
did.
click elsewhere.
I didn't click out of it.
You gotta click out of it. Okay, well, so all this is threat. So one of them negates one advantage. You get 4 successes, and then take a point of strain. You got one minorly bad shape. So just take a point of strain. This is a stressful situation, but I mean, 4 successes. Ask me whatever you. Hadil to you is a bit of an open book in this moment. What do you?
So
what do you want to know
I
about
think
her?
like maybe it is that it's the flood of information in terms of this is the first moment and to be able to process it that goes all the way back to the farm and how she was able to kind of like distract, help, and then we helped. And so I'm just sort of like thinking through all of this. And I guess what I really want to know is that if I believe that Hadil is, military background, is it a part of like Friends of Ukiah? Like, is this just right?
Like what is her deal?
Right, exactly.
So she is moving with and now I think and you haven't really like observed her before. She's kind of just been like in and out of the scene. So as you observe her a little bit more closely, she moves with like an almost preternatural grace. Like she moves like a dancer. In that she has a very economic sense of movement. She's very sort of fluid. You notice she's incredibly stealthy. Like she's not making any sound as she moves and seems to be very aware of her environment. Whether that's military training, like it doesn't have the sort of regimented like structure of military action. If you had to guess, yeah, it's hard to like. She moves more like a gymnast than a soldier. Very aware of like where her limbs are at any moment, and like, yeah, graceful in a way that most humans are not.
Okay. And do we know at this point? Like, I guess there's maybe still some questions around, was this someone we were supposed to meet? Like, is Hadil a part of the Friends of Ukiah? And
yeah, I mean, I think she arrived at this nebulous meeting point that you were at prior to fleeing to the farm. Haley, what do you know about Hadil? Were you given like reports, like expect these people? Because you were waiting there when everybody showed up.
Right. It's sort of like a dossier situation where it's like they have the information they have, and it's sort of you have to take a gamble on whether that's gonna work out in your favor or not if you don't have like a ton of information on somebody.
Yeah.
okay, so
yeah, I mean for you, Haley, like what you know about Hadil is very minimal. Like you probably just got like an image and then like a massively redacted personnel file that has no information even on where it's a personnel file from. Like it's got a name and a couple of dates, but everything else is just like removed from the file.
The dates are 4/20.
Yeah. 4/20, 6969 YOLO. That's her secret code. So yeah, you don't have any information on her either.
Sleeper agent code.
Yasna, does Hadil notice you staring at her?
Um,
Do you fall in love?
maybe actually,
Roll too low.
yes, and and maybe that is where finally Yasna, says, "Is this your first visit, or you've made this trip many times before?"
And she stops and turns to look at you as if it didn't occur to her that anyone else would be like maybe it takes her a second to realize you're talking to her. And she blinks a couple of times, and we get a nice close shot on Hadil, right? She moves into an area where there's some light coming down through a a grate above. So there's some sunlight coming down, and there's dust hanging in the sunlight, and we can see her. So she has shoulder length black hair, and it's currently in a ponytail, braided behind her. She has medium brown skin. Her eyes are kind of amber color. She is pretty much indistinct. She could blend into a crowd pretty easily. She's not exceedingly attractive, but she doesn't have any unusual features. She looks like a composite drawing of a bunch of different normally attractive humans. And she looks at you and she just kind of quirks an eyebrow oh, wait, somebody's talking to me. And she says, my first visit to where? What do you mean?
To 10 years. Your first time here?
I don't know. It doesn't seem familiar, but.
So you're going to the same place we all are?
Yes.
Great. I thought maybe you had done this trip before.
No. And she looks over at Haley and she says, just like the rest of you, I was told to trust her.
Sure.
You
So
have
I
something to
nod.
say to me?
So are you eavesdropping on this conversation, Haley?
We are all standing in the same place.
I mean, my
right?
assumption is that this conversation is a walk and talk situation.
Okay,
but
sure.
if you want to be
It's
eavesdropping,
an echoey tunnel. I don't.
They're talking quietly, but you're absolutely. It's less that you can't hear each other, and more you're doing that thing where you're just being polite and you're I can hear every word you're saying, but we're gonna pretend I can't, unless you want to break that barrier and be excuse me, did you have something?
No, I think she would say that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hadil turns and looks at you. No. Someone said that you could help. So I came. And then all of that happened and I had to kill some people and here we are. You do know where we're going, don't you?
I do know where we're going. I've made the journey more than once.
Good. And she turns back to you, Yasna, puts her hands up see, we're fine.
Yeah, sure. I think Yasna just nods and maybe finally does say your purpose, your training, your specialty. You move very beautiful. What is it?
So let's talk about synthetic etiquette. Is it, and maybe this is not something that we can all answer this together, but is it rude to ask somebody what did they make you for?
I'm not synth, so
Yeah, right. And I mean, synths don't have a culture because you were built to mimic human culture. But when you ask that, I guess this is more a question for Yasna. When you ask her that, what is your purpose? Do you think that there is a chance she'll be offended by that, and you're gambling on that anyway, or do you just not? It doesn't occur to you.
Honestly, I'm not gonna metagame, but I just sort of, because I am human myself, I kind of feel like I misspoke. I don't know that I would have necessarily asked that way, but to answer your question, I think there's a part of me too where it's maybe upon liberation of synths, it's okay, that's accepted.
Oh, right,
Just
because you're used to being around, because you used to fight with, like, you're part of a synth unit, and
Right.
but you have human commanders, and they treated you and your fellow soldiers like that all the time. So you're used to being around people that just would ask that because they don't care, and that's you picking up on their behavior, or
Right, and not
Okay.
like that. A synth is not embarrassed by that they chose to make me do combat versus dancing.
yeah, right. It's just it totally okay. So it wouldn't seem rude to you necessarily. Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah. Like I would imagine that there is a group that is like, well, logic dictates. Like, yeah, I was made with this thing, right? It doesn't make me any less of a
Yeah.
a individual, whether synth or human. But yeah, so
Okay. I'm not sure how she will feel about this, so let's get you to roll.
Great.
Hadil's a little prickly, so put one more purple die in your pool.
So 3
Yeah, and then make a charm roll.
Wow.
charm.
Yeah.
Okay, charm. All right, shit.
Okay. So, a couple of minorly bad shapes. You got 2
Bad
threats.
shapes.
She just gives you a look like you haven't earned the right to ask me that yet. And I'm gonna make a note that
Fucking Hadil will remember
yeah,
this.
Hadil just is like, I don't know about this Yasna Solari.
Do I recognize and have a chance to respond?
Yeah. She makes a look like I don't know you. I don't know you. Like, don't.
I
ask
think
me that.
Yasna absolutely like. I mean no disrespect. I simply was built for a purpose, as many of my friends were. I am sorry.
She doesn't say anything. She kind of just like eyeballs you and then is like, okay, I have skulking to do.
Fair.
Autumn Autumn, Johnny, you're less able to kind of eavesdrop on the situation because you have what's her name, Katrina or whatever, hanging off of you like, I think I'm
Christine.
dying. Johnny, I don't
Right.
feel good. Like she's just
Right.
like, I'm scared. This tunnel is dark. What's going on? Help me. And so you're kind of occupied by that. But Autumn, I think you obviously overheard Haley, Yasna, and Hadil talking, and you were able to observe that conversation. What's happening? What are you thinking about? What's going on for you?
I think Autumn grows quiet,
Yeah.
clutching the kind of laser burn on her arm because she's still pretty injured.
When Autumn gets quiet, is it possible that anyone is even capable of noticing that? Because it seems like Autumn is quiet all the time.
Yeah, she's very much like kind of second daughter of a noble family, but wasn't the one in the limelight. She wasn't like the special one. She wasn't like the smartest. She was shipped off because she was a psychic
Yeah.
in the hope that would turn into something valuable for the family.
Right.
But she's a bit of a wallflower and a bit of a kind of like always stood at the back of the room,
Okay.
kind of watched everything else. But that means that she's a little observant and she does pick up on things.
Mhm.
But I think
Okay.
that right now, she feels alienated. Like she's kind of realizing that she's the one human amongst all of these synths. And like that conversation between Yasna and Hadil, where it's like, what were you built for?
Yeah.
Like a stark reminder of like, oh yeah, these aren't real people. Like with Johnny, it's easy to just kind of be like, oh, he's a robot man. Like, but like, and also like the fact that Haley has obviously proven she has a completely different mindset and skill set to the form that she has,
Yeah.
like the way leading everybody. And I think that Autumn's kind of looking at that, and then it's beginning to dawn on her the situation that she's in. Like she's very much rushed into all of this without much thought, and kind of just grows a little quiet, but maybe kind of starts moving closer towards Haley and Johnny, maybe.
Mhm.
That there's a bit of a kind of like more of a military.
I love that. So Haley gets uncomfortable around the robots and then is like, I'm going to go hang out with these ones that are like kind of passive and submissive looking. And then they don't threaten me so much.
Yeah, I think it is. Like
Yeah.
she feels like, Yasna and Hadil are very clearly military trained, and that is scary to somebody who is not. So
Yeah.
she kind of drifts closer to them, maybe like makes an excuse of kind of looking at Catherine and Haley. Haley, do you know if where we're going? Are there medical supplies? Catherine and I are probably going to need some time to rest, and I don't have much of my kit and tools on me. So, do you know if they have that where we're going?
I mean, most of the medical supplies would be for synths, but I'm sure maybe there's like some crossover.
It should work.
Can we solder your wounds closed? Is that a thing?
And she kind of, I think Autumn like laughs a little bit. It's like, well, I think that will help Johnny more than the rest of us. But from what I've seen, I think most of what I know will still work on all of you. So hopefully whatever you have will work on me, I guess.
I'm sure we can find something. If not, we could go on a run to get something,
All right. Sounds good. I think, yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm still a little woozy, but I think the adrenaline's keeping me going. But yeah, I just need just to treat these burns and the wounds, and Catherine will need the same thing as well, the res flesh and things like that. So
Haley like shoots Christine like a side glance. Like she's so over it. She's so over it. But bless Johnny's sweetheart for putting up with it.
He's trying, dude. I mean, his code, he's very much like, oh, take care of this person that's, going through like a crisis. Because,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think but otherwise he's very like, God, I really want to get on with this. And she's like just holding on to me, got me in a freaking like vice grip. It's insane. So
I think I would lean into Haley with the whisper and just be like, also, maybe if we can find a sedative and then I kind of nod my head towards Christine, like, we need to deal, like, I can knock her out if I can find some sedative kind of things. Like, we can calm her down.
Believe me.
Sedative. Yeah.
Subtle. Good.
Thanks, Johnny.
Like whispers up to Autumn. Believe me, if it wasn't going to slow us down, I would have done something like that by now.
Yeah. And I'll just kind of nod and maybe like smile at Haley and like, oh, this is a conversation that I can deal with. This is actually, this isn't scary military person. This is somebody who I can reasonably talk to, even if they are an 8-year-old girl in appearance. So
I think that's a really, really interesting sort of look at Autumn's psychology, right? That you're like, oh, there's different kinds of synths. Those are the scary ones over there. I'm going to hang out with this one that looks like a kid. Haley, your programming is working, right? You're making the humans feel comfortable around you.
Comfortable, exactly. And it's also like just because I would imagine that growing up in a noble house, we would have been told horror stories about like synths, especially like combat units, right? Like that would have been, oh my God, they're killing machines. They'll murder you in your sleep.
How old is Autumn?
She's like 22, 23.
So your young life, like up until you were a teenager, synths were good. They were like, you had a synthetic nanny and you had like up until a point, and then all of a sudden those horror stories would start, right? Like there was whispers that like, wait a second, like I heard from a friend of a friend that his fiefdom, their synths were going crazy and they were like burning the house down and they like chased his wife around the field with a knife. And then slowly those stories took on more and more credence until they were like, yeah, actually, we have to get rid of these bad artificial people. And that happened over the course of several years. But like in your early life, they were good and normal, like childhood memories.
Probably would have been, like childhood memories. And then going into the academy, the MES academy, right? Like that's probably where the rumors would have started to ramp up, like in those later years.
So I feel like if that's the context, you might have watched like Haley's performances growing up.
Yeah, they would have been old timey to Autumn as a child, right? Like it would be like, oh, like this is this old show, this old movie starring
like black and white stuff. Like
it'd be like watching Wizard of Oz now. Like you can appreciate it, but it's like this is from a different time. Yeah. And all the Munchkins are robots.
I wasn't allowed to watch movies growing up.
Right, you had psychic training to undergo. So you've kind of gravitated towards Haley, and Johnny, you're trying to keep your friend? Quiet. You're trying to keep her like calm down. Okay.
He's very much trying to keep Christine kind of in like a, hey, it's cool. But he's been doing this for like the better part of a day now, where it's just like, you know, he's had to like watch over her and make sure that she's okay. But he's also trying to pay attention because he really wants to, you know, be in the know, and he wants to know what the group is doing, but it's really hard to pay attention with this other person.
Do you resent your being like made into her bodyguard or her like handler? Because you have to take care of her, which is just like a job for someone who's not important or cool, like Hadil or Yasna or Haley.
Yeah, I don't know if he would really have an idea of what's cool, you know, because he is he is made to be cool, but he's also like, his job right now is just to you know, his coded job is to like take care of Christine, because he was also like a bouncer. He was also like making sure, you know, everything was copacetic when he was bartending. But right now he is really thinking like his drive to like survive and become, you know, a better version of himself is kind of overpowering at this point. So yes, he wants to stay with the group, but he also really wants to know about the friends that we're going to go see. So that's slowly like his like caretaker attitude is kind of it's waning. Like it's really like becoming rusty, and Christine is like heavily weighing on him right now. Yeah. So when Anna mentioned a sedative, he was like, "Oh my God, yes, of course, that would be perfect. Put her to sleep."
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So she's oblivious to all of this. She's going through her own programming right now, right? Where she like is trying to get you to take care of her because that's what she's programmed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's less, she's not like being annoying. She's not like whining or complaining. She's just being very vulnerable so that you have as many opportunities as possible to like protect her, right? Because that's what she thinks that you want. Yep. Okay, so this is happening kind of as you're moving through these tunnels. You know, the last place that the Crux retirement squad knew that you were at. But Haley, have you? I guess how prepared in advance are you? Have you like literally been to this safe house before, or do you just know where it is?
I think it's floating.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think they would keep it in the same place. So I think it's like I go pick up the package, and then I, you know, either I've been given the coordinates beforehand or they're delivered.
Oh, so I imagine it kind of like maybe instead of just like a document you were given, maybe it's more like one of those like 2FA authenticators where it just changes every once in a while to like right. So you're the only one that knows, and it's a safe house just like set up to receive this group, right? To get them brought to that place. Okay, cool. So you haven't been here before, but maybe I guess here's another question. Have you done this before? Have you like acted as a shepherd for endangered synths and brought you to the friends of Yakia?
I think so. I think she's a good candidate for that because she's can be unassuming.
Interesting.
This seems very like Underground Railroad, except for synths.
So how come? I mean, this is the thing: is you're endangered too. How come you haven't been put on one of these like safety ships and sent off to wherever?
Because she's an asset. You know, she could be shipped off, but it's like there's not a lot of sense that have been made to be.
So have you had that conversation? Like, or are you happy to like do this for others? Because like are they promising you and they're like, maybe, okay, next time, Haley, we just need you for like one more thing. Right?
I think she's been around for a long time and is like a little jaded about what's left for her. Like she's peaked, you know, as far as like, because her programming is like to be a star and be famous and entertain and live in that world, and it's just like impossible for her to do that now. So it's like, how can I be valuable? How can I be important and recognized and I don't know, seen as like a figurehead of some kind? So I think this is some sort of like surrogate situation for her to fill that void. So
you're functional even if you're not getting what everybody else gets, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So I don't think there's a lot of like wandering around in the tunnels. I think you have a clear path to where you need to go. And so I think as a result, then it doesn't take long to get there. You arrive at a junction, and it has in it there's like a door that's been set into this junction to like block it off. And this is the place. They've created a section of tunnel that has been fortified and blocked off that is here. And you get to this door. Now there's got to be some kind of security here. Is somebody waiting here for you? And you just need to like talk to them, or are you going to be just like the group of you alone?
I think there would be at least one person there to make sure we make it to like the waypoint.
Okay. All right. So you get to the door. What do you do?
Haley's going to put her hand on the door and release a very specific frequency of vibration into the metal.
Interesting. Okay. So you have this, and it's like a key for them to know that it's you.
Right.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, then I think the door just opens. Then, if you have this frequency, put your hand on the door. Everybody watches this. Haley walks up to this rusty, like iron door, puts her hand on it. There's a faint hum, maybe imperceptible to most, and then there's the click of the lock and the sound of metal shifting inside the door's structure. Christine tenses up at the sound because it's kind of loud. There's like a grinding sound, and then there's a thunk as the door unlocks. And a beep to indicate that it's open.
Yeah, y'all ready?
Yeah. Soon as we
Ready
get
as we'll ever be, I suppose.
Haley pushes open the door.
Okay. All right. So you go in. You go inside. As you enter, this place is not meant to house like a lot of people. It's a temporary space. Think of it as like one large room, and then a few, as you come in, a few sort of side panel like areas, side rooms, just that you can get through a like an archway. There's no other doors. And as you enter, there's like supplies. There are like crates here. They look to be, I mean, they're definitely stolen. They have the acre kind of rhombus painted on the side of them, and then they have numbers indicating the contents of the cargo, and they all have the same like section of the crate broken. There's a piece missing, and there's some like burn marks around it. So there's a pile of these crates. There are some cots laid out. They're made up, so they have like pillows and blankets on them, but they're like military fold. Nobody's sleeping in them. They don't look like they've been touched. And you can hear somebody whistling in one of the other rooms, and just kind of like tunelessly whistling to themselves.
Haley will sort of, will without hesitation walk into the other room.
Yeah, you're just gonna go and check it out. Okay.
I assume she knows who it is, so.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about that. So yeah,
or knows it's someone who's a part of the organization at least.
Yeah, I mean,
or a murderer.
Right, yeah, chances are pretty good. This is the thing: if you walk into a place, you have your own presupposed idea of what to expect, and so far there's nothing unusual. And so you're like, oh, this must be like a person. This must be the person waiting here for us. And so so Haley just kind of like skips off. What does everybody else do when Haley like leaves?
I just try and follow Haley. Like, I wouldn't want to be on my own with the more military synths, I think, at this point.
Yeah, right. Like, don't leave me, Haley. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. She hates, like, she's afraid of being on her own. So I think knowing that Johnny has his hands full with Needybot.
Right, Needybot.
Yeah, Autumn would follow behind.
Okay. I think Johnny would do the same thing because, again, he feels protective over Haley, and wants to, make sure that she'll be okay going forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So
I go for supplies.
I'm just gonna draw a really terrible map. So this is kind of like where you came in, right down here, and then this is the vague sort of shape of the room, and then to one side there's all these like stolen crates, and then there are cots kind of along this wall, and there's two tunnels in either direction. or two like archways you can go through. And I think you notice as you come into the room, maybe Yasna, you and Hadil notice it at the same time. Hadil like nudges you and points up, but you already saw it. Mounted right here is a camera. There's a camera mounted on the ceiling right there that is pointing at the door. So the camera noticed you come in. Maybe we see it. It's encased in a glass bubble that's kind of scratched, but the lens, we can see it turn as you come in.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then you want to go over and look at the boxes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then Johnny, what are you doing?
Well, it depends on what Christine's doing. I'm guessing she's hanging off his arm.
Yes, Christine is attached to you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Johnny, I think Johnny wants to probably. I don't know if he would really be in the mood to just investigate,
Yeah.
because he doesn't really see people that are like of interest at this point. Like he's still with the group, so he's not just gonna like go off on his own and be like, oh, what's over here? But he will. He will sit down with Christine and try to talk to her.
Like go over to the cots and like sit her down.
Yes, like he's going to try and just have an honest conversation. Be like,
what can we do to just calm you down? Because right now, I gotta go interact with other people, and I can't really do that. So, how do you feel about naps?
So she says you made her feel a lot of feelings because it was like it was up and then you're like I gotta go and then it was down and now you're talking about nap, and so she just kind of like looks at you and her eyes are all like watery and she puts her hand, you're both, I assume you're sitting next to each other on one of these cots. She puts her hand on your leg and she says I don't want you to leave. Stay here with me. We can just lie down for a minute. And she just like moves her hand up your thigh just slightly when she says that.
Okay. All right.
And she's not trying to be like seductive exactly, but she's trying to be like super vulnerable and being like, you should just like stay here and like lay down with me and like it'll be safe, right?
Does Christine have the ability to sleep?
Yeah. Or simulate. Yeah. Like the more important question is like, can you? Because she has to like power down in the way that any synth does. She needs to rest.
Right. Okay. Well, Johnny cannot sleep. However, he will make the suggestion.
Okay. So how about I be the big spoon and you be the little spoon? And we'll just lay down here on this bed together.
So she likes that. She nods, right? Because that's exactly what she wanted. And she nods and she says, I think I'd like that. I feel so much safer when you're close by. And she's like, again, she like leans in. She's still got her hand on your leg.
That's good. Okay. Well, I'm glad that I make you feel safer. That's what I'm here to do. So let's go ahead and have a nap. And
she's not quite done working you. So she says, she's like, everything that happened at the farm, it was so scary. And those men with their guns and I thought I was going to die. And then you helped and you were right there and you were so brave. And she's like scooched up right next to you now. And she says, I was so scared before. And then when we were on the truck and you were there, I felt a lot better. And I just can't imagine it would. And she looks around as if to be like, look at this scary place we're in. And she says, nobody else makes me feel safe like you do.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so Johnny knows when he's being worked, right? Because he has had the misfortune of dealing with so many people like this who are like, I'm just gonna fucking charm my way into whatever.
There have been a non-zero number of like drunk housewives who have been like,
Right.
So Johnny, what you got going on down there in your robot pants?
Right.
How many creds I gotta pay you to come back into the alley with me? I bet you got it going on down there, robot man.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's definitely happened to you before.
Right. Does
Sexual harassment.
minor
Except you
sexual harassment.
can't sexually harass something that has no feelings
Just a
or
tiny bit.
emotions or
Wow.
any rights
Harassment.
whatsoever.
Wow.
You can't sexually harass a desk. Watch, I'm gonna try. Hey, desk, you're hot.
Oh my
That's right.
God,
See?
TOS. I can't believe
just
this
saying.
shit, dude.
Yeah.
TOS. So okay.
We're gonna
First
get
of
you
all,
out
this
of
is
there,
very-
desk.
This is a very
Desk, I
important
want to
question.
put my stuff all over you. Oh, I did it. It's great. See? Nothing. Nothing.
I have a question.
Hit me.
Hit me. Adam, you need to
Does
stop.
Christine have a reset button, like a switch button, anywhere that's like on her back? So you know, like with Commander Data, how he's got like a fucking switch or whatever. Does she have one of those, or is there some process, like, you know, left, right, A, B, start, like fucking that Johnny can like.
Yeah. Like it would
Let's say
be
he goes in for the massage
it
or
wouldn't
whatever.
be it wouldn't be a physical thing. It would be a Manchurian Candidate style, like a code phrase, like I'm done playing with you now, and she would just be like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed, and it would trigger the like fuck off code.
Yeah.
This is so upsetting.
It is.
Like she,
but he has to do it, right?
This is the
progress.
thing, right? And this is the ultimate like question of the setting, right? Like, are you people? Are you not people? Is she a person? Is she not a person? Like what? And so this idea of like implementing her oppressor's commands against her because she's being inconvenient is like kind of like super problematic on Johnny's part, but also like, I think if you want to spend a plot point or whatever, if you want to use a story point, we can say that you can tell me how you know this, but we can say that she has a code phrase to just be like, fuck off, I'm done with you.
Oh, that feels so skeezy, though. I'm just not sure that that's something. I'm trying to figure out if that would be good for Johnny's character or not. Because he's had to deal with this sort of thing before, and because Christine is ultimately not a part of like she's part of the group, but him taking care of her is not a part of like the mission. And it also conflicts with like his desire to be seen as something more than a synth.
Yeah, so you're conflicted here because she needs, as a person, she is having a real, this is where we get into the complicated philosophy of the thing. She's having an emotion. Regardless of its origins, she is scared. She does feel like she's not lying to you. She's not trying to screw you over or like trick you. She seems authentic. And her authentic, if artificial, feelings are that she needs you to stay with her so that she can like calm down. But that's not convenient for you. So what are you going to do about it?
Make someone else do the
He's
trick.
really wrestling. He's really wrestling right now.
Yeah, right.
So, but because ultimately he decides that even if it was programmed, he would probably do the same thing. If he were programmed like that, that's what he would do. Because he understands that as a synth, you can't really control that sort of thing.
Right.
So he turns to her and he brushes aside a loose strand of hair and puts it behind her ear.
Mm-hmm.
And he says,
"You matter. You matter."
And he hugs her.
Okay. Cool. We see this from Johnny's perspective at first, right? The shot is from your perspective. It's seeing her face. And she looks at you with these big eyes, like you've just said exactly what she needs to hear. You come in to hug her, but as soon as you're not looking at her face anymore, it just goes blank. Like we see her face and she just kind of goes like neutral and lets you hug her. But all the emotion that we saw on her face just like slides off. But Johnny doesn't see any of that, right? You're looking at the wall behind her. So that happens. And while that is going on, Haley and Autumn, you are going to go off in the direction of the mysterious whistling. Yeah, you want to head off that way? Okay. So there is a blocked off corridor that runs around the outside of this section. You come out into the corridor, and there are posters on the wall of various kind of like Friends of Yakia like propaganda. A lot of farmland, a lot of depictions of like farmers holding their tools, a lot of like chiseled jaws and like matronly looking ladies and families, lots of babies. And the overarching message of all of these like posters is just like Yakia, the breadbasket of the universe, and like Yakia, your food comes from here, basically, and like the importance of farm life and Yakia as a planet to be like treated with respect and to be handled carefully. And then like the Friends of Yakia, it's all the sort of messaging from them. And these posters are up on the wall here, and the whistling is coming from a room around the corner. So Haley, you come into the hall, and then Autumn, you're behind Haley. Do you say anything, or do you just follow Haley into the other room?
I think there is it's not really conscious. It's kind of triggered by Autumn's nervousness and her uncertainty. But I think I want to try and precog what happens when we go through that door. Like it's almost like this is a thing I don't really know what's going on, and then her brain is just like, well, let's look. Like, yeah, it's almost not quite a reflex, but like she doesn't really consider what she's doing.
Yeah, it's like when you can't see something and you squint. You don't really think about like, I am going to squint now so I can see that better. It's just a thing your brain does. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you cup your metaphorical ear, or your hand to your metaphorical ear, and listen for the future. Yeah. Okay. So I think you're only looking a few minutes ahead, or not even like a minute ahead. So just a two purple.
2 pups.
Yeah.
Just 2 pups. Yeah.
Yep.
Precog.
Ooh, look at you triumphant bastard. Look at that. It's the best shape of them all.
The best of shapes.
The best shape there is.
Shape emo.
You win.
On looking what happens when we go through a door. It's going to be nothing.
It's perfect. High stakes situation. So it is stressful, right? You got those two threats. So it is hard. But you get a success and a triumph. So let's talk about what is a triumph? How does that affect a roll like this? Is it like you see with clarity? Is it you see multiple options with the most likely being highlighted to you? Like, what do you think? What do you think getting a triumph looks like?
I don't know.
Come on, Mr. Dungeon Master, you can do it.
I think I like the idea of like the multiple potentials, like the potential options. Maybe, I don't know if this is even possible with the physiology, but maybe my proximity to Haley, she kind of gets like a precog echo, like she gets a glimpse of it as well.
Like you can share it with other people. Interesting.
That's cool.
I like that.
And then that way, like
without
maybe
warning, am I gonna freak out?
maybe.
Am I gonna
like
be
maybe we can both get like an upgrade. Like if something does happen and like Haley, it's not just me that has the knowledge, it's also so we both can get like a bonus or something.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. God, that'd be disorienting where it's like,
Haley, that's like when you do acid and then you come down, but an acid flashback.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere you're like on acid again without
classic. Always on acid.
What?
I mean, it's fine. I know what you're talking about. So for no reason at all. I've seen some films. Right. So God, this happens to me and Zeke all the time. So I think it would be weird because in this case, it's like when your friend does acid and you get high. But it would be like you, because time is a funny thing. Like you think that what is happening is what's actually happening. It's like you walk up to the door opens, you go in, you see the thing on the other side, but then you blink and it hasn't happened yet. You're still a few seconds behind reality, but you're aware of it. And I think that it's not disorienting in that sense. Like it's a triumph, right? This role is meant to be this way. And so it can be weird, but I think you're aware of it while it's happening. It doesn't like freak you out. So what you both see, it's lucid. So You both see, you approach this open door around the corner. It has a metal plate above the door that just says workshop on it. You come around the corner, you see there's a man in the other room. He is he's quite tall. He has very dark skin. He's bald. He has his back to the door. He's wearing a work jumpsuit, like coveralls, but he's undone the top half of it. So the top half is hanging kind of like shed skin around his waist. It's like
Sexy.
It used to be bright orange at some point, but it is not anymore.
What color is it?
It's like he's been wearing it for a long time. So it's kind of like this grayish orange and is like
that's like Hollywood hillbilly massacre kind of vibe because it's like the
no, don't do that. I just said it was sexy. Don't put me in that situation.
You can't see his face when you walk in, but you see he's got very big muscly arms. I guess he'd be played by Terry Crews if I needed to cast him. He'd be played by Terry Crews.
Sexy. I
love it.
Never evil. We're safe.
Yeah. So he's played by Terry Crews. And you see he's back and he's whistling to himself. And occasionally there's sparks coming from whatever he's welding something on a workbench. The room is full of half-finished objects that you don't really get a chance to kind of dig into in this vision. So you see this, you walk in and he stops whistling and he sits up and he turns around in the chair and you see he's smiling and you watch as whatever kind of like nictating membranes he has over his eyes recede so that you can see his eyes. He has some kind of like shielding built into his eyeballs. So he's welding with no mask on and they slide out of the way and he looks at you. Haley, do you know this person? Have you met him before? I think if you want to have met him in the past, you can spend a story point, or this can be the first time that you're meeting him.
I want to have met Terry Crews. Yes.
Okay. All right. So you've met this guy before. He has two names, as many synths do. He goes by two things. He goes among mixed company, right? Humans and synths. He goes by his like human name, which is Oliver. But among synths, he goes by VR, which is the first two like digits of his SID. So you would know him as both, and it'll be up to you if you want to address him as Oliver or VR. I think you've only ever met him maybe once. Under what context did you meet Oliver before?
Maybe it was just the meeting of planning this pickup.
Right. Okay.
We were at the round table together, making sure all the details were nailed
So you've
down.
met him face to face before.
Yeah.
Okay. He has a nickname for you. What is it? What does he call you?
It's Curly Bob.
Wow.
Nailed it.
Wow.
Thanks, Curly Bob.
Curly Bob. Good stuff. It's no schloopin' boopin', but it'll do. Okay. All right. So that's what happens in your vision. You see him turn around, smile, his little like welding membrane slide aside, and he says to you, "Oh, hey Curly," and then you snap back, and Autumn and Haley both see that, and you rewind back into, and you've just walked into this hallway. You can hear him whistling.
Sorry. I don't realize that Haley's seen it, so I'm just sort of like, and then I kind of snap back to reality.
She turns around and she goes, "Maybe you could like warn me next time
What do you mean?
when you put your future brain in my brain."
I didn't do that. I didn't do that on purpose. I didn't realize that was even possible. Really, sometimes the MES is really strong, and but normally only other MES can pick that sort of thing up. That's really weird. I didn't realize you should. Sorry. It just happens sometimes. It's like a little reflex. When I'm nervous,
So like maybe moving forward, just in case.
All
Maybe we could come up with a hand symbol or something.
I'll try to. I'm sorry.
Maybe you
It's
could just do this, and then I'll know.
Sure.
The universal sign. And actually, you had to, Autumn, one of the very first classes you remember taking at the academy was on how psychic abilities have no somatic components, and that doing this doesn't make you better at psychic stuff. Like, there was a class about it. Like, we know you've seen a lot of TV shows, kids. This is not how it works.
Some heavy Adam meta.
You don't wiggle your fingers. You don't. Yeah, you don't have to like make a face. It just doesn't. It's not. You could just use your mind.
Maybe you could do this, or maybe you could even make a noise where you're like whoop 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 whoop, and we really know.
I am reading the future.
I will try. Like I said,
yeah.
it's not entirely by choice. Sometimes it's just, like when I get nervous, maybe you tense up. My psychic brain tenses
Well,
up.
if I accidentally climbed inside of your skull without telling you, that'd probably be kind of jarring, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Just
I'm
asking
sorry.
you to be empathetic.
Yeah, I will do my best. I'm sorry.
Great. Well, that's my buddy Oliver in the next room. So
Okay.
let's go in
that's
there.
Okay. All right. So you're gonna go ahead and walk in there. Okay. All right. So you head down the corridor, come around that corner, and go into the other room. But before, and the same thing, like he sits up, stops whistling, turns around on the little swivel stool. But before he says anything, we cut back to the storeroom. So Johnny and Christine, you're, I assume, like lying down, a little snuggling going on.
Yep.
Okay.
They're spooning.
Okay. So yeah, Yasna, what are you doing?
I want to go through the supplies.
Yeah.
I mean, I would guess like, yeah, I mean, we just went through some shit. We're not exactly well equipped, so it just makes sense and would be in my training to go through supplies.
Yeah,
and
you're just like, hey, there's supplies. I'm gonna go through them.
And I mean, like, have some confidence, like, Haley knows what she's doing, right? So
All right. So let's talk about this. We know these boxes fell off the back of an Acre truck some time ago. Back when Acre was still a thing. Do you want to let me tell you what's in them, or do you want to spend a story point and you can tell me what's in them?
Oh.
Grav tank.
Yeah, it's all of the parts you would need to assemble your own grav tank.
and then we'll just roll for the next hour and a half and
Yeah.
whether or not,
Yeah, as you attempt to build a grav tank from scratch.
Steve, but you hold the instructions and I'll hold these Allen wrenches, and then we get
It's an IKEA flat pack grav tank. Perfect. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, that's how it goes. Sure. Wait, have we spent a story point yet?
Yeah, you spent one.
We did.
Spend it. Just go nuts.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
as well.
We're going to spend that
I'm
story
sorry I
point.
spent it. I just wanted to know, Terry Crews.
It's okay. You'll be more sorry when Adam comes back and
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just use them
That's
all on
true.
one roll. Yeah.
That's
okay.
true. You know Terry Crews, and he hates you.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna say make a charm roll, and then I'm just gonna make it so difficult you couldn't possibly do anything but fail. And there is no despair worse than having Terry Crews hate you. None.
That would
Just
be
none at all.
truly heartbreaking to me, I think.
I think that the supply crates actually have been opened,
Okay.
but each one has kind of been outfit with sort of a, hey, you're going through the Synth Underground Railroad, here's your starter pack, right?
Oh, cool.
It has sort of, like a weapons loadout. It has both medical supplies for synths and humans, considering that this is a part of the Friends of IKEA. And it's not like an abundance, but it is literally like your let's go starter pack. And we go
Okay.
through it.
So what kind of things? What would be like the? Yeah, so you're a synthetic refugee about to leave on your journey. What kind of things would be in that pack?
So I mean, if this was like pre-made for us, maybe even we would find some sort of like ID or credentials or something that was going to help us get to the next location. We would have, as I mentioned, a couple of weapon loadouts, supplies, just as far as you need these to survive. And then probably, like change of clothing and or different things that we would be needing for.
Let's talk about that. You have a cover that's been prepared for you as a group. What is that cover? Right? Because it wouldn't necessarily just be like, I like the idea of a fake ID, but let's talk about that as a group. What do you think what would the Friends of Yakia have come up with and arranged to tell you, okay, you need to pretend to be these things? Because they're going to need to get you from here to a spaceport onto a ship, and that ship is going to leave the planet, and all of that has to happen without you getting caught at an Imperial checkpoint. So what are you as a group here? And Haley, is this your last mission? Are you supposed to go with them?
Great question. I don't think she knows until she's there.
Oh, so like you're gonna learn. So Yasna learns this before you do, because Yasna will find your pack in there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So yeah, what do we think? Like, what is and this is a question like for me as a GM to the players. Like, what do you want your fake ID to be? What do you want to pretend to be for the next couple of episodes as you attempt to get safely off Yakia?
I feel like we would be trained for something, like training. Like obviously Johnny's a synth. So he can't really pass for like being.
I mean, you're not
human.
illegal, right? You're just like a shitty robot.
I feel like we should be.
Sorry.
We should. Yeah, no. We should be like training for some particular. I don't freaking know. Like maybe Johnny's like being trained to be like a janitor or something, and so this is like a group of people that are.
What if we're all dressed like janitors?
I have to say I really like Chat's suggestion. Mark, what do you think? You're a group of mercenaries called the Red Murderers. You think maybe that's a good cover? Or?
No,
that's a great cover.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Say that now. Sounds all cool until people actually need you to be mercenaries.
Okay, so
I'm with space janitors.
So why would you need a group of space janitors to leave the planet and go somewhere else? Why wouldn't we just use serfs? Why wouldn't we just use serfs? Listen, I'm just asking you things now that Imperial Customs is going to ask you later, and I want you to be prepared with your answer. So why would a group of synths have to leave or a group of people have to leave the planet to go be janitors elsewhere?
Because there's a specific strain of virus that we can handle. So other synths at this territory would be more prone to having their joints rust because this virus could possibly infect them. And we're like, nay, we were built off planet, so we can handle this crap. Y'all can't.
Okay.
We've been trained to be immune to this sort of thing. So we're the cleanup crew that they ask when it's too toxic for your main cleanup crew.
So you are
We're like CDC cleanup.
Sure.
CDC janitor.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
They don't have to be humans, the other guys. But
yes, remember everybody except Johnny has to pretend to be a person. Because if you show up and you're like, hey, we're synthetic janitors, they'll be like, cool.
I was like,
thanks.
Wait a second. Are we living in the same universe here? Like,
it's fine. There's some confusion about that. So
he's fine.
Yeah, you have to be, I like the idea of you are doctors, but one of you looks like a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old or whatever. So
someone has to be my mom.
Look, Dewey Hauser was a thing once, Adam, okay?
And Tanya's one too young.
You're too young.
It kind of has to, if you want to do the mom thing, it kind of has to be Yasna.
I'm going to have to start talking weird then.
Right. Activate your space French.
Child of Yasna.
Yes.
Yes.
It's weird. You're okay. Good. You have a Russian accent, and Yasna does not. Okay.
That's the whole point. No one's ever supposed to know.
No one knows. Great. Maybe she just won't talk.
Okay, so
actress, she can do it.
I'm going to be very boring and be a doctor.
Well, okay. Can we combine Elspeth's idea and the doctor idea to maybe be that Vana is like that Haley is the patient that we have to,
Oh my God.
Community.
transport as well. So we
Or
are.
like maybe Haley's
That can
Haley's
be
like
so-
patient with the
Let's-
immunity, and like
let's just,
I'm
okay.
still-
Let's walk through this in a real life situation. So okay, you're trying to board an airplane,
Right.
and you need to tell the people. They're like, "Why are you going to this country?" And you're like, "Okay, because we're doctors, and we're going to this other planet to like, we're going to this other country to like, research and take care of a disease in this other planet. Also, this 8-year-old girl is got this contagious disease. Can we get on the plane now?"
She's got the cure. Maybe.
So she's the chosen one, and she's the only one that okay.
My blood, it's good.
Okay.
I have good blood. I fixed
She's
it.
got good blood.
I got good blood. That's my
my daughter,
mom.
she had good
That's
blood.
my mommy. No, I call her Yasna. I don't call her mommy.
Take child to work day.
Yeah, right, cool. So everybody in the party is just Dr. Grigori now. I guess you could theoretically pretend to be like I'm on it with the doctor bit because Autumn is actually a doctor. So
Okay.
that's good. Your
Brain
cover
fiction.
kind of like that's fine.
Maybe I play dead and
Oh, so you're going to take Haley to do a funeral for this dead kid, and that's the cover. Is like this is our dead child, and
Be
we have
weekend
to
at
take her
Bernie's.
home.
We can like, you
no
know.
one should question that because that's really rough.
It is sad. You could go
Very
in on the sad like. So you're taking our dead child to her home planet to like bury her or whatever.
Oh,
In like a stasis
Could I-
coffin.
could I part of the cover then? Like, I mean, I guess I could be a doctor, but could I? Because I'm guessing like,
Hey Autumn,
I'm-
you want some trauma? This is your pretend dead sister. Just pretend that it's your sister, but
Oh,
she's
God,
dead. Like
no.
you're afraid your actual sister might be.
oh no, don't do that. I was thinking like maybe I could pretend like maybe my cover is like I'm a liar, house liar like mortician, and that's why I'm accompanying the dead child.
I could be sick too. I don't have to be dead. I could
Again, but if you're sick, there's it's gonna be much harder to get onto a
it's not
plane.
contagious.
to get-
It's
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's my period.
I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure that that's not a disease. I don't.
Good blood.
I'm just,
Good blood.
So then we take the Cadillac and we fill it full of hamburgers and we drive it to the front. Like this is what's happening right now. So let's try to keep it.
Provide.
Your characters are all smart. Let's try to keep it simple, right? As close to reality as possible. As like I know that you want to be a group of like space cancer ridden super doctor like savior people going to, but like so maybe it'd be easier to just like maybe you're pilgrims or like farmers or like something. Maybe we just like
Pilgrims.
I mean that's
We want to get on the
definitely-
Mayflower
We bring good tidings.
and also syphilis.
And also
Okay, all right. Again, we don't have to keep layering. You don't have to yes and this plan to death. It can just be like you're like pilgrims, and I'm like good, and then you're like pilgrims with syphilis, and I'm like why? Why do you need to add that? Like
That face. Look at the face. Vana's just like yes. Good chaos.
next time I drive to America and I'm at the border, and they're like, "Do you have anything to declare?" I'm gonna be like, "Do I have to declare chlamydia, or does that? Can I just have it and not declare?" Like,
I'm just saying the Pilgrims gave the native people syphilis with their.
I'm aware of what the pilgrims did. Thank you, but I don't think you need to necessarily become syphilitic pilgrims.
Go along with this great idea. Can you also just take the rest of our story points? Because
Yeah, actually, if you want to spend a story point to pretend you have syphilis, then fine, that's okay. But
You can pretend.
yeah,
Okay.
good. I mean, yeah, good. Okay, so
wow. Oh, that was rich.
missionaries.
so you want to? Okay, so we want to land on. Okay, missionaries. All right. So are you traveling
Okay.
home from Yakia to a planet that is religious? Like, are you going to Endophiel? Are you high church missionaries? Or is it the flip side where you are Yakian religious people and you are traveling to another planet to spread the good word?
Yeah, maybe it's like
Ooh.
we're like Mormons So
Yeah.
we're going on our mission trip.
Okay.
Mormons with
'Cause
syphilis.
We've just been.
Man, I want to start a punk band called Syphilitic Mormons. That's a fucking sick band name. I love it.
Yeah.
And then Joseph Smith dug up the golden tablets, which gave him herpes. And then he went out. Okay, good. Okay, so your missionaries going out to somewhere. Okay, all right. I'm gonna
And then
say,
if anybody like asks us questions, we'll just start saying, "Have you heard about our Lord and Savior?" And then they'll be like, "Oh my God, please."
I mean, remember
God.
the universe that we are currently occupying is a very religious one, right? Like there is a imperial religion, the high church. Like most people are religious, so being like, "Have you heard the good news about God?" People will probably be like, "Yes."
Yes.
God
Do you want to
rules.
talk
Love
about
that
it? Do they want to talk about it?
Yeah, it's just like out at the edges of the universe, where that might be. Like if you go to Cabina and you're like, "Hey, how do you feel about the high church?" The people there will be like, "Get out. We already have a God. We don't need you." But I'm gonna take a look. If you're going to some like backwater, like Sean, or I'm sorry to everybody whose home planet I'm calling a backwater right now. But if you go to a planet that's not Imperial Core, like if you go to Sean, or if you cross the sector to go to like Tootham, both of those planets could use some missionaries.
Well, I'm gonna say, like, from what I know of like the universe and things like that, like we probably like this group is definitely sending us away from the core, right? If it's like meant to be a Sith safe haven,
Sith.
we like that. The Sith safe haven, yeah. Always two there are. But I'm guessing that we would be sent out of the core. There's no way that a synth safe haven would exist close to Prime.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing, right? If the cover is, I mean, Sean is pretty far sector southeast, right? Like it's one of the last planets in that row before you end up kind of at like Bergen, way off in the corner. So I think Sean makes sense as a place for you to go. It is a cold planet with hundreds of millions of people. There are pirates that live there. Yeah, I think that's a great place for missionaries to go. This may not actually be where you're going, but that's the claim, is your missionaries to Sean.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Can I just ask one other question? Is like Autumn just ditching her sister, or like what is that a part of what we need to do as well, or?
I mean, her sister is somewhere safe for now.
Yeah, I think that the original agreement was that we would be brought to here to meet up to then go on.
Okay, so maybe right.
So I think Autumn's theory is that if I can't meet up with her here, then maybe she's already been sent on, and that's
got
where
it.
I think
just got ahead of myself.
That's good.
No, it's good. It's good to know those things. Okay.
Looking out for you, Autumn.
So in these crates, then there are fake IDs for everyone here, including Martin, who definitely won't be needing that fake ID. But everybody else has identification, marking them as members of, I guess, like a variant, like high church splinter religion, probably some kind of. I mean, honestly, the Friends of Yakia aren't like an illegal organization. It's just no one knows that they're secretly like synth supporters. So maybe you're all just like agricultural like Friends of Yakia missionaries, and you're heading off to Shan to help them like kickstart their agricultural product and also like teach them the ways of God in the earth, right? So there are probably garments, both ceremonial and casual, based on like farm wear. And then there would be like robes or whatever for your special rituals. There are probably data pads with like religious information on them. There are, I guess, there'd be like tickets, like Freightliner tickets to Sean. And then ID that are like, this is who you're pretending to be, and it will hold up some amount of depending on the quality of the scanner that runs it. But you have these fake IDs and stuff as a result. Okay, so that's what you find as you're looking through this stuff. I don't think I wrote down gear to support the cover. So if you want later to be like, oh, a fake missionary would probably have this kind of thing, then that's fine.
Okay.
We can do that. But I don't think you'd have like guns necessarily because missionaries. You're not here to.
Okay,
Show up on
when
land
you
to kill
use
people.
when you give me those types of suggestions, Adam, I feel like we are about to die. So I'm going to push for that and
Yeah,
say
well,
there's
and
got
so-
to be at least a
No.
handgun
Okay, so
that is
here-
intended to be disposed of, because we
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
realize we're not going to be.
Okay.
But yeah,
So here's I will say this. There is a box of what looks like to the average viewer, which is say not you and not Hadil, because Hadil is watching you go through these boxes. They would look to anybody that glanced at them like miscellaneous agricultural parts, like they're just machine parts for something. And they are arranged that way. There's probably like a blueprint doc in the files that you get there, pretending to be like, yeah, these are parts for like a grain thresher or something, but they're actually guns. It's a gun. You can assemble it into a gun and then use it to shoot people. It shoots like metal spikes at them. But yeah, everything in it is disguised as something else.
okay.
Yeah.
Except for the two knives that are clearly knives.
Yeah, but I mean,
That are easy to
knives aren't illegal. I mean, guns aren't illegal in this universe,
Okay.
but like certain people having guns, you can like, yeah.
Raise an eyebrow.
Like if you're a
Okay.
reticulum serf, you're expected to have guns and knives on you at all times because
Two,
they're special. But if you're like an Eridanis serf, you probably don't walk around with a machine gun for fun.
great. I wrote down 2 very sharp knives.
Sure, they can be very sharp if you want. Okay. All right.
They're sharp.
Okay, so you get a look at this crate, and there's enough of this stuff for everybody, and like fake IDs and what have you. Okay, all right. So meanwhile, in the same room, Johnny, is your intent to? And I was trying to read this from what you were saying before. Is your intent to just like snuggle with Christine till she goes to sleep?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the initial
Like as in-
idea. Is just like, hey, maybe I can calm her enough to where she actually is just asleep.
Yeah. So you wanna like give her what she thinks that she needs until she falls asleep. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's see if you can do the whole like lift her arm and like put a pillow under her arm thing as you like try to slip away. Yeah, let's have you roll to see if that's something that you can.
Okie
that you can do.
dokie.
So I think it's like a stealth roll. Let me take a quick look at the skill list here.
Sure.
Coordination, maybe. I think it's not really stealth. You're just trying to like. I
Coordination.
mean, either one would be
Okay.
fine.
All right. What shapes do I have in my dice pool?
She is like really needy, but she's also injured and stuff. Let's just give you 2. Let's give you 2 purple. Make
2
it an
purple.
average. Yeah.
All right. Let's see what I get. Interesting.
Okay, I will give you a choice, right? Because it's a neutral result. All your good shapes and all your bad shapes, they had a fight and they all died. So there's no shapes at all. And I'll give you a choice then. You can leave regardless. And if you do, she's still awake and she'll notice, but she won't follow you. But she'll notice. She'll be like, oh, you just waited for me to go to sleep and then you ditched me. Or you can stay with her and just keep up the illusion and she won't be like, it won't change her opinion of you. You'll just play along with her game.
Right.
And I think this is an Elspeth question, not a Johnny question. You can decide if Johnny notices this, if this is like an intentional move on Johnny's part or not.
If he notices that Christine's like still awake.
Yeah, that's up to you to decide. But I'm asking you as a player, which of those 2 things do you want to have happen?
What would appeal to me the most is Johnny finally getting rid of Christine, because at this point she's just a burden. I guess that's probably what I would want as a player. I don't think that's what Johnny would do.
Yeah, but if Johnny doesn't notice, if Johnny thinks she's asleep, then
if Johnny
he
thinks
just
she's
gets
asleep,
up.
he'll
and
probably
slips away. Okay.
leave. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will make a note.
Sorry, Christine.
Yeah, Christine, like she understands. She gets this information. She's like, okay, you were just waiting for me to calm down, and then you left. Okay, she adds it to her psychological profile of attempting.
Christine
to
will
manipulate.
remember that.
Yeah, there's a lot of NPCs remembering things. Okay. So Christine knows Johnny isn't like, she suspects you don't really care about her.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you slip free, and she pretends to be asleep.
Hot dog.
What do you do? Where are you going to go?
Well, he'd like to go over to where Haley is, because I believe he also heard the whistling, but it wasn't like something that, he registered right off the bat because he was like, oh my God, get off me.
You slip away and head down the hallway.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So we'll cut over to Autumn and Haley. So you walk into the room and Oliver or VR turns around and everything goes exactly the way you expect it to. And he says, what was his dumb nickname for you? Bobby Pins? What was
Curly Bob.
Right. Curly Bob. I'm just going to call you Curly because that's
No,
it's a nickname that is longer than your actual name.
Curly Bob.
Okay.
Nicknames aren't always about speed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes they're about fun.
Good. Just like that accent.
Okay. Just like Jasmine's voice.
So the two of you come into the room, and he turns around and he smiles and he says, Curly, nice to see you. Who's your friend? And he turns to like look at Autumn.
Oh, this is Autumn. She's one of the people that I picked up.
When you say people, are you trying to tell Oliver that Autumn is a human, or do you not care? Oliver is sensitive about that.
I think I'm trying to play Autumn off as a synth.
Oh, okay.
But I also don't think she wants to like actively lie to Oliver. So I think by saying
just leaving it ambiguous.
Right. Not telling the whole truth.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So Oliver stands up and he reaches back behind his ear and he unplugs a couple of cables that are plugged in there so that he can walk away from his desk. So he unplugs these cables and he sets them down on the desk and he takes a step towards you and he puts out a big, slightly greasy hand to shake your hand, Autumn.
Yeah. Autumn's like, oh, nice to meet you. What was it, Oliver? And I just offer to take his hand.
Yeah, and he nods and he squeezes your hand, gives a little shake. And does it bother you at all just being addressed so casually by someone you don't know?
I think it probably does, but she knows that she's out of that environment. She understands, she's not gonna be like, that's not, you should address me properly. Like, she knows
it's very disrespectful to just call you Autumn.
It is, yeah. But I think that with everything that's happened, she understands that life is probably being left behind her.
Okay.
And this isn't somebody who she expects to call her that either.
And it'd be you're smart enough to know it'd be a bad first impression to be like, address me by my title, Surf.
Not even a real robo-surf.
Yeah.
But no, I think she buries that. Like, she is ever so slightly like, this is not what I'm used to. This is strange, weird. I don't like this, but she buries that and just smiles.
Okay. Let's see how successful you are at burying your discomfort.
Man, it's so cool to role play as a woman.
Why don't you roll? Let's see.
I'm now like, oh no.
Better downplay my discomfort.
You're wrong.
So a strange man doesn't murder me.
Honestly, yes, it's definitely a game about robots and stuff. Sure. Yep. Okay, so let's have you make a deception roll.
Not negotiation.
It's not a negotiation. It's a deception roll.
That's a shame.
But let's see. Make it 2 purples, but throw a light blue, throw a blue die in there. Give yourself a boost because he doesn't want you to be uncomfortable. He's not looking for it. So this rolls in accordance with what he would like you to just like him and be comfortable. But let's see if you can hide that discomfort.
Deception.
Yes, please. Okay, so you don't succeed at hiding it, but you don't blow the roll. It just makes you really stressed out. So take those 2 strain. And
Adam, can I ask a question?
Yes.
What happens when I reach my strain threshold?
Oh, so normally
because those 2 strain from seeing the pointless future and the strain of using my ability has pushed me to my strain threshold.
I think you pass out.
I think it's the wound. I shake the hand.
It's
and
clearly
then
not about any of this stuff. It's just that your body is like, okay, adrenaline, because
Give up.
you yourself said, I'm running on adrenaline right now, right?
Yep.
Now you're done. The adrenaline runs out and you feel, so he takes a step towards you to introduce himself and he goes to shake your hand and everything around the edges of your vision gets fuzzy and he kind of seems far away and you can hear Haley talking and it's kind of tinny and you feel like you really need to sit down and you want to say that, but you can't speak and you feel like dizzy. And then I think you pass out.
Nice.
So what we see as Autumn,
Nice.
I'm out.
Autumn
There he
confronted with a social faux pas passes out. I didn't realize that you were
Love RPG.
Emily Dickinson's Far
Wow.
Verona. So you get the vapors.
Oh my
You get the
god.
vapors, your corset's on too tight, and you pass out. Oliver's quick enough to like grab you before you fall down. So Oliver catches Autumn and looks at you, Haley, and he kind of grins and he shakes his head. He's like, "Something I said, or is she always this fragile?"
It's just your dashing good looks, Oliver. She couldn't take it.
And he looks at you and he's like, "You can't say things like that." And he stop it, don't wink at me. And he gets one arm under Autumn's legs and like lifts her up and he turns to leave. And that's when, Johnny, you come around the corner and you see Oliver, aka Terry Crews, holding Autumn unconscious like a wilting flower in his arms, and then Haley behind.
Autumn's fine. Autumn's fine. She just got her circuits overloaded, right? That happens to her sometimes, right, Johnny? Mm-hmm.
Johnny is just like,
So
he just had to deal with like watching someone else go to sleep, and now this is happening. So he's like, oh, great.
Everybody's just passing out left and
Everyone's
right.
passing out left and right.
I think that's a symptom of the horrible, horrible syphilis everyone has.
Oh,
It's just
fuck.
getting knocked out at a moment's notice. So Oliver kind of gives you a look like, okay, yeah, sure, but like, excuse me, and goes to kind of like move past you, Johnny. And he says, he's like, listen, I'll shake your hand as soon as mine aren't full of Autumn. Let's get her. Come on, and like kind of goes past you into the room.
Okay.
He's
Back
so
into the main
strong,
room.
right?
Yeah. So Yasna, you see them come back. What are you doing when Oliver comes into the room?
Probably just finishing out, grabbing everything. Maybe even we set it out on the cot so that people could grab, whatever their appropriate IDs, etc. And then we're just probably, as you guys are coming out, we're finishing up with that, and we would turn and. What happened to her?
Her circuits got overloaded. It happens to her sometimes. Right? Remember that about our good friend Autumn?
I'm guessing
baseball.
based on the bullshit that you're currently spouting, Haley, I'm guessing that Oliver, and this makes sense from an information security perspective, Oliver doesn't actually know who any of these people are. Right.
He's probably seen the dossier.
He's seen faces and he knows the fake ID.
Right.
But if he knew like who you all were and then he got captured, then there would be a leak there. They'd be able to torture him into saying something.
He probably knows me the best, but just because we've met in person before.
Yeah. So he recognizes faces but doesn't have names to put to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So he looks at you, Yasna, then looks at Hidil, and then sees Christine asleep on the cot, and then and he says, look at all these new friends. But Haley, somebody's missing. You lose somebody on the way over?
Inconsequential, I think.
And he walks over and sets Autumn very gently down on one of the cots next to Christine, who's like faking being asleep, but nobody knows that. And he stands up and he turns and he looks at now he looks at the group of you all kind of like assembled, and he's speaking quietly because sleeping people right next to him. He says, I don't think anybody's inconsequential. Did they not show up?
You didn't meet this guy, Oliver.
Maybe he, you're thinking about Christine in the other room?
And
We're in that room right now.
yeah, Christine's over there. She's asleep on near you. It's okay.
Why did I think we went through like a fucking tunnel?
You did to go and get him, and then you came back.
Got you. Never mind.
You were here,
Never
and then
mind.
you went over here, and then you came back, and
I see.
Yeah. So, so he, Yasna, you say he didn't make it.
Yeah,
And-
I would.
He's talking
I'd
about
step
Martin.
up.
Yeah. And he turns to you and he said, "Didn't make it. You have a rough trip over here?"
It was not so easy for us. We were tracked by the death squad. We were.
Oh, whoa! Somebody followed you, and he goes over to the door, and like opens it and looks outside, and then closes it, and like checks the lock.
Sir, this is back on the farm. This is many miles ago.
We went through a burning wall of fire.
We went through a
flames went
burning wall of fire.
Good, fantastic. Ancient Earth songs. So he turns and he says, "But you lost them. Where? Where was the last time you saw them? Or more importantly, where was the last time they saw you?"
Okay, Oliver, first of all, let's calm down a little bit. It's gonna be okay. We just got here. All right. But yes, there is some urgency to our visit. Because there is a chance they're tracking us via nanobugs. So yeah, we should expedite things maybe a little bit.
Yeah, and he nods like, this isn't the end of the world. This isn't a permanent base you've led him to or anything.
Right.
And he says,
the timeline we had, we might need to
step it up a little. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, and he looks at Yasna and he sees you've kind of like started going through the stuff, and he says, "Okay, fine. You get distributing things. I'm gonna go start packing up the workshop."
Okay.
I'm sorry we don't have more time to rest, and I'm sorry you lost somebody on the way over here.
I am not. They were a liability. You can't sacrifice the entire organization for one person.
And he looks like he's about to say something or like chastise you or have an opinion, and then he just takes a deep breath, like, "All right, now is not the time to discuss this. I'm gonna go," and he leaves the room.
Johnny, will you help me open the lids on these boxes?
Yeah, sure.
And he comes
Actually,
over.
everything's already laid out on
Yeah,
the
you
couch.
turn and look, and it's
Oh,
like
okay.
Yasna's
So-
just like,
oh.
"Yep, done."
Okay. Thank you, Yasna.
His deal helped.
Oh, a deal. Thank you. I imagine you all grabbed your packs.
Yeah, so if you look, everybody has basically like a packet of stuff, and it has papers, it has ID information and clothes and all of that, and tickets for this freighter flight. And I think let me take a look at where the spaceport is on Tanya's, because that is important. So yeah, it has that information. You can like keep discussing. I'm gonna just make a note so I can tell you later.
Okay, Autumn, I think this is yours here.
So-
Oh, I forgot.
You're like, "Autumn, these are." Aw, look at the
I
sleepy
forgot.
human.
She's okay.
Did
well,
you, Mark? Did you figure out how long you're gonna be out for?
So it basically by the rules,
Mhm.
basically at the end of an encounter. So I don't know if that means like a social or a scene or whatever.
Yeah.
I can make a discipline or cool check, and I recover strain for each success. Otherwise, a good night's rest generally removes all strain from a character.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So
Yeah.
at the end of this scene, you can make that roll, right? So you're just
Okay.
gonna be out for this conversation.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, Johnny, here's your pack here.
Is there any
Okay, thank
natural strain aside from just?
It's that for everybody. Yeah. So it'll be the
Okay.
same. Like basically what we're doing is like taking like a rest scene while you're gathering your stuff. Then everybody will get to
Okay.
make that roll to recover.
Fantastic.
Recover cool.
Fantastic.
Or recover their strain. Okay.
Yeah, cool or discipline. you
Cool
can
or
use.
discipline. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at Tanya's for a second. So this is where the farm was down here. And then you are in old Tanya's. I found the spaceport, which is why I'm showing you this. So the old city is, let's see. kind of in the middle. Yeah, Old Tenias is 25. So you are here now in this district on the east. And then let me zoom it out a little so chat can see. There we go. So you're over here. And then the spaceport where you're going to need to go to get out of here is Spaceport Tanyas is number 1. So it is right there.
Middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trunk.
So there you go. That's how you. That's where you got to get from where you are now to go over there. And I guess there'd be a map, right? There'd be like you have this in. Who would be given the map? Which of you would have that in your data packet? Do you think?
I would suggest that in situations like this, that actually multiple people have maps because.
Okay. So maybe everybody does.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. All right.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're ever separated, or if Martin died, right? Then...
Yeah, poor Martin. He's dead. There's an extra pack for him. So if you go directly there, Sector 8 is factories. It's a like a factory area. Pretty like full of like fairly heavily defended. There's lots of like industrial stuff going on there. 7 is Little Cabina. It's like a it's not a ghetto exactly, but it's a neighborhood built by immigrants from that planet. And then 12 is a residential area called Freedom, the like Freedom Blocks. So that's 12. And then you can either go through 2 or 3. 2 being a shipyard, and 3 being a like a cultural district. So like a bunch of like museums and theaters and like shopping areas, like a commercial area.
The best places to have gunfights.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's the direct route if you want to travel kind of through to get there. But we can talk about getting there after you have a minute to rest. So that's something you can see. And the blue areas are water. They're like lakes. It's a big city. Yeah. So you have that map. You have your tickets for this flight, and I think that probably I'm gonna pull a Nebula Jazz and be like, the tickets are for like whatever dramatically appropriate time it is when you get there. Like, I'm not going to be like, you have 26 hours. It'll just be like,
sure, right.
There's a limited time there. It's a specific time, but it's boring for me to be like, you only have this much time to get there. You'll probably get there right on time, depending on whether you get slowed down or not.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's kind of the situation laid out before you. You have this equipment, you have these fake IDs as being mercenaries, missionaries of the Friends of Yakia, headed for Shan to spread the good word, and you have clothes and then the secret gun. So I guess what preparation does everybody do, right? Like Oliver is putting away all of the workshop stuff into a pack or a kit to take out, and then you have like this scene basically to prepare. What are you doing?
Johnny would like to find some Windex or something and just spritz himself with it because he's got like a bunch of dirt all over him and he wants to at least, clean up a little bit. Not look like he's been through fire and dirt and
you're all very badly people. Yeah, you're all very badly like burned.
Right.
So there is a like a washing up like facility. If we pop back to the OG map here that I drew, my super cool map, there are like sanitation facilities for human beings, of which you definitely are, over on the other side. So like over here, there is like a washroom basically with a bunch of like showers and toilets and stuff. Because sometimes there are humans here. It's not everybody that's synth.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a place you could go and like clean up if you wanted.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So Johnny heads over that way.
Johnny hits the showers
to the car wash. Okay. All right. Cool. What about Haley? What are you doing?
I think I'm just double checking all the supplies. Maybe she has like a checklist of some sort to make sure it's like all there. And if like Yasna has already picked up like her pack, just double checking everything's in there. Same with like Hadil. So basically just checking the boxes.
Yeah. Are you looking for anything in particular?
No, just more so looking for anything that's missing rather than.
Okay. So you notice in your pack there is, and I'll describe the object. You can tell me if you've ever seen one before. There is it's like a circular piece of plastic, like about dinner plate size, circular like rim of plastic. And then stretched over the surface of both sides is some kind of like artificial like skin, like thin like leather, right? And then all around the outside of this plastic like rim, there are little metal plates right next to each other. And when you pick this thing up, it makes kind of a jingling sound.
Is it a tambourine?
It's a tambourine. Yeah. I don't know if Haley has ever seen one before, but it's definitely a tambourine.
Yeah, I imagine she's worked with a number of simplistic instruments in her
right
120 years of entertainment.
And as you hold up your tambourine and you look, you see that in the other packs, somebody has like a little flute, like a recorder. And in your data pad, all of them say, and actually, I guess who would have, somebody has an acoustic guitar. That's like in a very important like youth mission kind of like thing. Whose gear is the acoustic guitar in? Who is expected to play that?
Can I?
It's got to be Johnny.
I feel like it would be Johnny because he's, he's like the classic. Let's get together, everybody. Good times. I can play some Eagles.
So Johnny, briefly, maybe you had a stint. Like there are other versions of you, and their job is to sing "Happy Birthday" to children in a pizza restaurant.
Or like, just like the live band in the bar or whatever. And that's what he does. Yeah. So he's also an entertainer, sort of. Yeah, he would totally have some guitar going on.
Okay.
Are we doing a Partridge Family situation?
So that's the revelation I think you come to is that in your data pad in addition to the tickets, your ID and your map, there is a songbook. There is a Friends of Yakia songbook. And all of the songs are about God and the earth and planting food and like family and animal husbandry and how God made the earth and that humans till the earth and they grow the food and like all of these little like songs about how good God is and how and how God gave us the earth so we could have food. So you have all of that available to you.
Great.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great.
You find that. All right. So you dig through
syphilis.
Dig through the gear.
And
there's not a lot of hymnals about syphilis and the holy nature or unholy nature thereof.
Everyone can catch it.
Yeah, and then you go insane.
Oh Lord.
So yeah, you find
let
that.
it get to your brain. Oh my God.
I'm just saying, if it's a holy gift from God, you can't cure it. Curing it would be against God's will. You have to die of syphilis now.
That syphilis was a gift to you.
Praise him.
Yeah.
Praise God. So, man, religion's weird. So you do that. Okay. So you find all that stuff. Yasna, you've already unpacked everything. What do you do? What are you doing during this like moment of rest?
Well, what's my instrument?
I get the impression that you were probably cast as like the mom of the group.
You're our tour mom.
What would like in this made up religious missionary singing kumbaya group, what would like the mom play?
Mouth harp.
I mean, somebody's got to sing about God. Maybe, I mean, Haley probably. It depends on the song.
Great. I'll do that.
Harmonize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little girl voice.
Oh, mom. Yeah, mom. It's a mom and daughter like singing duet. It's a duo, right?
Yep.
Okay. Good. All right. So yours, yours is just like you're expected to sing.
I've got duetting role play experience actually.
You do.
So
That's true.
This is perfect, right?
So you look. So you're going through your bag, and everybody's doing this, like looking at their instruments and stuff. You don't have the Mr. Wizard does not put anything in the bag for you, Yasna. But when you look over, Hadil is holding a washboard, and she looks at you and she says, "She's holding a washboard," and she looks at you and she says, "What is this thing? What am I supposed to do with this?"
You're supposed to like rub it.
And she like
You're supposed to
rubs the top of it like it's a lamp.
No, the metal part.
She turns it sideways and like, I don't understand. What is this for?
Haley will take it and then take out one of her knives and
Uh-huh.
like rub it up and down the washboard in a
It's like-
rhythmic pattern.
Tick, 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 tick. And she like
Yeah.
takes it kind of like what?
What is this magic? What is this sorcery that you've bestowed upon me?
But why?
It creates like rhythm, you know. It's like a kind of like a portable rhythm section, you know.
But why would they give this to me? I don't know how to make this thing work. Why do I not have a knife or a sword or a gun like Yasna was given?
I mean, that's a secret gun for emergencies.
She looks at the washboard in your hands and she thinks you mean like that's also a secret gun. So she looks at it and she says, I would have a very difficult time killing someone with that.
I mean, I believe in you. I think you could kill anyone with anything. But
She puts her hands out. She's like, give it back to me.
Okay. Are you gonna play it?
To learn how to kill a man.
And so she takes it, and there's the moment where Hadil looks at it, and you know she's not seeing a washboard, she's not seeing a musical instrument. She's envisioning as many different ways as she can to kill someone with this little washboard.
Prove you wrong.
And she looks up at you, Haley, and she just nods like, I understand the challenge.
I
put
don't
before me."
Oh my God. Come on, Hadil.
We're supposed to be undercover, Hadil. We're supposed to act like humans that love God, you know, and are in like a creepy family band.
You have a sense of rhythm,
Yeah, like
you
what are they-
know? You just gotta go with the rhythm.
She looks over at you and then back at Haley, and she shakes her head and she says, I don't like music.
Okay, don't think of it as music. Think about it as the rhythmic screams of your enemies.
I don't like screaming either.
Okay.
You could think
well-
about it as you're slicing somebody every time you do that motion.
It's good. That's good. Yeah.
I don't know what you think of me. I'm not some kind of insane murderer.
I just watch you in your eyes envision all the ways you can kill somebody.
There's nothing wrong with insane murderers. I'm just saying that's something you could do.
And she looks at you, Haley, like she gives you a I'm in this picture and I don't like it face. And she says, I just wanted to be prepared. Yasna was given a gun if I have to kill someone with
It's
this.
a secret gun. Emergencies only.
So you expect me to. She holds it up and just goes like a couple of times.
It's the safest, easiest way to get out of here. You want to get out of here, don't you?
She nods.
Okay.
course.
Well, sometimes we got to do things out of our comfort zone in order to achieve the things we want to do.
Fine. I will practice. And she goes and she sits down on a cot and just like I'm gonna just use my iPad as the washboard. She just sits here with it and just goes and like looks over at you. And if she sees you looking at her, she just like glares at you like, don't look at me, and like turns around and like furtively like practices the washboard.
Fucking love
Johnny
this.
starts like singing along like,
Here comes the sun. Doo, doo, doo.
Stop it. You're distracting me. I'm trying to learn how to make music with this piece of metal.
Sorry.
Why could they have not just given me a proper musical instrument?
Like what?
Like a trombone or a harpsichord.
They're very big.
I can play both of those. This is a piece of metal.
They're
Why?
big.
Corrugated metal is not a musical instrument.
Well, maybe you're just not trying hard enough.
This is very stressful. Please stop talking to me.
Are you taking strain right now?
Probably.
Pass out.
It'll get you. It'll get you. Creep up on you.
Yeah, and she just turns away from you like, please stop speaking to me. I need to practice so that I can like effectively pretend to be playing this musical instrument just in
Great.
case.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So everybody gets a chance to rest. There was a moment of recovery here. So walk me through that. Walk me through the rule again. Oh, unconscious psychic of mine.
I closed the chapter, but hang on, give me a second.
It's a cool
Recovery.
roll.
It's cool discipline, so natural rest.
Yeah.
It's not a full night's sleep, is
No,
it?
it is not.
Like a moment of respite, so we don't get to heal any wounds.
In another game, we might call this a short rest. This might be a rest that is not long. This is a short rest. It's what, a no difficulty cool or discipline roll?
It's simple, no difficulty, discipline or cool check. Each success recovers 1 strain.
Okay. All right. So you can't actually get more strain from this. So everybody make a cool or discipline roll. Make sure your pool is cleared. Make sure there's no difficulty in it at all. Make a cool or discipline roll, whichever is better for you. And then the number of successes you get will reduce your strain by that much.
Adam, as a point,
Yes.
I spent some XP I had to improve my precog and discipline because I've used both of those skills. So I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
Sorry, will you explain it one more time?
Yes.
Yeah.
You make a cool or a discipline check with no difficulty, so no dice, no purple dice in the pool. So you just make a straight up discipline check. Any successes, you recover that many strain. So Johnny there gets 3 strain back.
Oh, Johnny, you're so cool.
He's too cool, dude.
So cool.
All
right, sick.
I think advantage works the same way too. You can spend that advantage to get another strain back if you have it, right?
Really?
Because
I think that's like in other encounters. I mean, here it just says each success.
Okay,
recovers.
yeah. So we'll just treat it as like ignore the advantage. It's just whatever. This is like a unique or a special thing, and I'll
Yeah, I think, like,
I'll
if
double
I-
check on it.
If I did a medicine check on somebody, then
Yes.
advantages restore strain, and then successes
Correct.
restore.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
So we'll just treat it like a
Oh, just a cool dice roll.
cool
Or
or discipline. No
Cool
difficulty.
dice roll.
No difficulty.
Yeah.
So no
Okay,
purple die.
cool.
Or discipline.
Cool.
Or discipline.
So you get 2 strains. So Haley and Jasna both get. Yasna, sorry, get both 2, and then yay 1.
You're barely conscious.
And I got 2 yellows. I got 2 goddamn yellows.
So
dice.
you wake
Fuck.
up.
Ah.
You wake up stressed. You pass out from stress. You wake up slightly less stressed,
Oh.
and
Probably like, where are we?
yeah, right. Oh God, right on the threshold. If you take even one more strain, you will fall unconscious again.
God damn it.
You're still panicky as
No
hell.
pressure.
Is this a Denny's?
Ma'am, this is the Space Denny's. You have to get up. You can't lay there on the floor. Please stop straining out. Thank you. So while everybody is resting, I'm going to cut away to so there's another scene, and the scene is the abandoned truck, right? So we have this abandoned truck, and we see that there is one of these Crux shuttles at the truck. The truck has been surrounded by the hologram equivalent of, and I think we saw these in season 1 outside the embassy on Berkman, where it's basically like a hologram barrier, a purple like ribbon, basically caution tape around the truck, and there are Crux soldiers examining it. They're going through the truck and looking at it and like running scan equipment over it. And we see now, and she has her helmet off because she's like in relaxed soldier mode. She's not in a fight. The helmet's withdrawn into her armor. We see a woman. We've seen her armor before, but now we can see her face. It is the face of a woman in her like early to mid 30s. She has red hair. It's like quite curly, but she's just come out of a fight, and so there's bits and pieces of it that are kind of sticking out, but she's kind of tried to jam it up into a bun. And she's talking to somebody on her like pad, and she's saying, she's got it built into her armor, and she's saying, right, well, like I said, sir, we did lose them temporarily. Now Team B is in the tunnels trying to find them, and we do have our Triangulum liaison, and they have whatever their special magic is. They're trying to figure out where these synths, they haven't gotten away, sir. You don't. And we cut to the bridge, and this is a very like kind of typical like bridge of a starship, like scary bad guy like shot. So we cut to the bridge of this ship, and we see from the back, we see a man. He has big broad epaulets on his very fancy Crux captain's uniform. He has a sash with like medals. His hair is black and like swept back into kind of like a brush cut on the sides, but with like a bit of a pompadour in the front. He's going a bit gray at the temples, and he has grown himself a very respectable Burt Reynolds mustache. He's got this bristly mustache. He thinks it makes him look like a little like naval, and everything about him exudes an aura of smug authority. And when we see him, we see in front of him there is a hologram display of the scene. We can see the truck and like the soldiers moving around, and there's a bunch of other officers kind of in the background, blurrily, like doing their thing, you know, typing away at their machines or whatever. And he's standing by the viewport, and we can see the stars in the background, and we see Ikea down below. And he says, "Fine, Arnahan. You've got 24 hours. Find them, retire them, or bring them to me. I'm sure that their synthetic friend would love to see them again." And he turns, and he doesn't say, like, you know, Captain Ibanez out. He doesn't dismiss. He just turns the thing off and walks away. And as he does, his assistant, another Crux officer, comes up beside him as he's walking, and he definitely, I think this guy is the kind of guy that wears a cape all the time. He has this like wine colored like captain's cape that he wears.
Krennic from Rogue One.
Yeah, a little bit. But like, yeah, like younger, almost like he's somewhere between Krennic and Hux, right? In that he's been given this position well earlier than most captains, which is why he grew the mustache so he could look a little older. So he's walking. His assistant comes up, and the captain says to the assistant, "Well, is the prisoner ready to speak?" And the assistant says, "Yes, Captain Ibanez. We've sedated it. And you're welcome to go and interrogate it if you want. I have to say, Captain, it's very unorthodox." And he puts his hand up and he turns and he says, "Adjutant, I know you're new on my ship, but I'm a very hands-on captain. I like to do the work myself. You understand? Once there was a time where I might have delegated this kind of thing to my lessers, but I've learned. Now, if I want something done right, I have to do it myself." And the adjutant like nods, like, "Oh, well, yeah, sage wisdom from above." And he says, "Yes, Captain, of course, Captain." And Captain Ibanez says, "But of course, you can join me if you'd like to watch. I think I'm going to enjoy this." And as he's walking, he's taking off his like naval officer's gloves threateningly. And we fade out on that scene. So I think that's where we'll leave it for now. When we do the next episode, get ready to pretend to be a traveling jug band of religious syphilitics, I guess. Attempting to flee the planet. You have cover stories, and you're gonna go and meet with a friendly captain and maybe get the hell out of here. But we know now they've found your truck. They are trying to find you. And somewhere above the planet, we have our good friend, Captain Yancey, waiting to say hello. So cool. Well, let's do experience.
Yeah, buddy.
So how have we been doing this? It's 10 per and then bonus on top of that, I think, for your stuff.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I think that's how we've been doing it. Okay. So Autumn. Let's see. Did any of your motivations come into play while you were conscious today?
No, I wouldn't say not. Like, there was a little bit of isolation, but not enough to like warrant XP. I feel like this was mainly a chatty session. I don't feel like anything really of substance.
Yeah, I mean, you passed out pretty soon, and there wasn't really like, you didn't want to like slow everybody down to be like, wait, I need safety before we go in here. But then you're also reckless, so whatever. Yeah, okay, yeah. That's fine. Okay, so you're 10. Johnny, that scene with Christine was really cool. There's some really interesting stuff going on there. I just wanted to point that out. I really liked it.
I did too.
So you get your 10 XP. Did any of your motivations come into play?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like his not maybe his fear to have his feelings be valid and not just like, oh, this is part of my programming or code or whatever. He recognized that in Christine, So I think he, in that moment, made a really like tough choice to like stay behind with her and relate to her like, hey, it's okay, I'm a synth like too. Maybe she didn't quite get that, but that's what he felt. And so I feel like he deserves maybe a little more for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, cool. Nice. Yeah, Johnny's an interesting character in that it's like we have Autumn on the human side and Johnny on the machine side, and then the two synths in the middle, and kind of watching everybody gravitate back and forth. I wanted to say, and I mentioned in the moment, but Autumn's that bit where Mark, you were able to be like, yeah, actually my character has some like internalized synthephobia that she needs to deal with. Like there's good synths that don't scare me and there's bad synths that do scare me, and the fact that you're able to make that distinction is like kind of gross, and I really like that you were like willing to bring that up for your character.
So what you're saying is I get 5 extra XP.
If you had a motivation around that, then maybe. No, I'm just lauding you for your role playing ability, Mark.
Thanks, man.
I take it back. Imagine that instead I just said fuck you, Mark. So let's talk about Yasna. Any of your background stuff, Yasna, come into play?
Not really.
No.
I mean, not really this. I don't think really this session,
Okay.
which is fine.
That's fine. I would love to see you continue, like, because you and Hadil have the most in common, and I'd love to see you continue to try to like build that relationship with her, because it's really interesting to me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to point that out. I really like that.
Yeah. I would also say, like, just going off this one, the idea that August is kind of like, oh, I don't like this combat military. That I like, maybe that was recognized, and we'll see what happens.
I think it's totally reasonable for Yasna to have noticed Autumn be like, I'm going to hang out here with the good synths and not over there with the bad ones.
Totally.
Scary.
Totally.
Scary synths.
Sure.
Scary synths. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Exactly. That's what I said. You have synthephobia. Okay. All right. And then Haley, did any of your motivations come into play?
Yeah, I think her ambition, her desire for ambition, craves power and authority over others.
Yeah, because you kind of took like the boss role, right? Where you're just like, I'm in charge, so do what I say.
And then this might also sort of just like in the same vein, her fear of like waning into obscurity, like being able to feel important.
I think for that one, and this is a seed for next time. We'll see if we can remember to do it. But have a conversation with Oliver where you're like coming to terms with the fact that you are leaving Yakia, right? That your job is being taken away from you, right? They're like, you graduated. It's time to leave. Maybe we could see some struggle with that, because it does mean you're not important anymore. You're just another refugee.
Yeah.
You're not the person saving the refugees.
Yeah, I would just say ambition then.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Mark that XP.
That's 10 extra. Is that?
It's five per. So you get 15.
Okay.
Total. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll do some shout outs and we'll call it a day. Now, I went out of my way to prepare shout out screens for everybody, but I can't select them because XSplit is like, no, you can't click these things. So we'll just do shout outs from here. Imagine though that I put the time and effort into making shout out screens for everybody, because I did. Mark, why don't you start us off?
Hey, thanks so much for watching, guys. You can check me out. I've been streaming more on my own channel recently as well. So twitch.tv/Sherlock_Humes. You can check me out there. Follow me on Twitter. It's the same. I'm going to be out at PAX West next week. So if any of you are there, we've got like a little High Rollers meetup, my D&D show. We're also doing some panels and stuff like that. So come and say hi. And then the other one, you can check out my D&D show, High Rollers D&D. It's every Sunday at 5 o'clock UK time. Thanks, cast and crew. It's been good to get back into Verona. I missed it. I missed you guys.
I did too. Thanks, Mark. Down below Mark playing Yasna Solari, it's the man with the kittens.
Yeah.
djWheat.
Thanks.
Do the thing.
Expect more pictures of kittens. Thank you. It feels good to be back. Just want to say thanks to everyone who showed some support over the last week or so. Don't forget that the TI9 finals are tonight. So tonight's the night you want to stay up and watch. It's been absolutely brutal trying to avoid spoilers, and I have not been able to stay up and watch live, but we'll be doing so tonight. Thank you. It's a pleasure to play with all of you. I love that you make me laugh so much. And you know where to find me /djWheat everywhere.
Perfect. Lovely. Thank you. And then over in this corner down below, playing Johnny Collins, it's Elspeth. Elspeth, go.
Hi, it's me, Johnny Collins. I also wanted to echo the sentiments of Mark and Wheat that this cast is amazing. People watching are amazing. Thank you so much for being so involved in the community, submitting questions, having a conversation about Far Verona. It has been great to get back into it. I've missed it a ton. And always have a great time laughing with everyone. So if y'all want to swing by my channel sometime and watch me, I do my own streams at twitch.tv/Elspeth. Or you can follow me on Twitter at Elspeth Eastman. But yeah, it's good to be back. And I wish I could have cats.
Excellent. Yeah, me too. And then you could, and then I guess you could rub your face all over them, I think is what we're supposed to do with cats.
I guess you're just supposed to grab one and be like, all right.
Yeah.
Start my day.
Cool. Well, I assume not allergic to cats up above you. It is Vana. Vana, do the thing.
I think kind of allergic to cats.
Maybe a little allergic.
A little bit.
Could be.
Yeah. But yeah, I just like everyone else says, I'm really happy we're back. And this is not an hour I'm usually conscious at when we start the show, but I get up early and I get excited to be here with all of you and hang out with the community. But I just feel really grateful because I feel like I'm just a wee little baby and I look up to all of you so much. And I'm just grateful to be here and be a part of it and get to build stories with you and be in your presence. It's a joy and a treat. But yeah,
so next time we do an episode, we're just going to start with 45 minutes of Vana telling us each individually how cool and awesome we are.
Could.
And I would just, that's the new show now.
The first time
Sorry,
I met
Far
Adam,
Verona fans.
I ran up to him at a party, complimented him, and then literally ran away.
That's true. That's very true. I was going to say, I remember that. I remember it happening. But I don't remember that it was.
There's no reason you should have remembered it. But man, I'll just never stop thinking about what a horrible weirdo I am.
Yeah, great.
But yes, you can follow me on Twitch. I stream full time over at twitch.tv/Vana. And you can find me doing RP stuff over on Saving Throw Show as well, twitch.tv/Saving Throw, or you can check the backlogs for stuff I have GM'd as well as roleplayed in on the YouTube, Saving Throw Show YouTube. And a Twitter is a thing. Havanarama, HAVANARAMA. Let's find out. I've got a giveaway going on if anybody likes Magic the Gathering.
I love Magic.
Yeah, I got a really cool bundle. Wizards of the Coast hooked us up with like hella cards and stuff like that. So
nice, free boosties. Yeah, go check that out.
Yeah, 540 cards if you're interested.
Nice, cool.
Open till Monday morning. That's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Well, this has been our episode. I would like to thank especially JP for putting the faith in me that I could run it without destroying it, and Cross-Eyed Jack for helping me do that. Like, for example, putting together a Canadian streaming server for me while I was streaming that I could switch to. So thanks, Jack. I appreciate it.
It's amazing.
I did not burn the Roleplay house down. Wait until I try to close the show to see how badly we tank. But thank you everybody for coming. As everybody else said, I desperately missed playing the game. It's so much fun to jump back in, and I'm excited to keep going and get to know these characters better. We'll let you know when the next episode is because I don't totally know 100%. So we'll figure that out and let you know. I'm going to be at PAX as well. So if you're there, come and say hi. Mark, that goes double for you. If we go all the way through PAX and we don't see each other, I will light you on fire. I will come to your house
afterwards or something. We'll definitely find something.
Okay, let's
make
it happen.
I got some of my crew with me too. So we'll be
cool. Good. All right. Well, that's it. We will see you next time. Thank you for coming, everybody. This has been Far Verona. You've been great. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.